William, I told you the other night, 2 nights ago, I wasn't going to get excited. I told you I wasn't going to get excited, Will. I told you it was going to take something for me to see Aidan Hutchinson doing some type of workout literally just 2 days ago. We're talking a man who 2 weeks ago was at the Detroit Lions Tennessee Titans game with his leg propped up in a steel chamber, William. And now we're seeing, show the people the video, William. What are we even looking at?
I mean, let me run it back. Let me run it back one more time. Let me run it back one more time. Listen, that is like, I'm gonna say this. That's this far away from playing next Sunday is where I'm at. How do you feel about
it? Game time decision. I don't flip a coin. Does he play? I don't know, William. I told you this is going to be Steve being a fanboy here because all bets are off. I don't know. I'm literally sitting here. Just the other night we were talking, and I said, "There's no way he plays this season." You said maybe he plays Super Bowl. I can see a path. I'm seeing some real progress here, and I'm no doctor. I'm no medical professional or anything of that sort, but I'm literally saying I saw this dude in a walking cast 2 weeks ago, and now he's in a pool putting full weight, or not full weight, but enough weight to be working out. William, is it possible we're going to see Aidan Hutchinson sooner than the Super Bowl?
Steve, I got to, for number one, I got to try to calm down. Now, I'm here too, but I will say this. You know what? I'm not even going to say American people, just people in general. You know what they love?
Democracy.
Other than that,
the McDonald's breakfast bagel.
Oh, that is pretty good. That's pretty good. But comeback stories. Yep. And when I think about just over the years being just in the sports, you're talking Seabiscuit, Mighty Ducks. You're talking Cinderella Man.
Secretariat.
Secretary. You're talking David Goggins, right? You know what I mean? For a tougher, grittier group that we got here. You know what I mean? You're talking Rocky Balboa, man. People love to see you lose everything, right? Build yourself back up, and then take over and have a huge triumph. I feel like that's what the Detroit Lions are doing right now. And each piece of the puzzle just keeps coming in and making this movie even better than I thought it was going to be. It's like, man, this was a pretty cool movie. We're winning games. We're the best team in the NFL all of a sudden. Then the Houston Texans come in and kick us in our mouths for 3 quarters. And then all of a sudden we have the crazy comeback story where we win the game. It's like, I know people talk about the NFL being a script, but if it was really a script, the Detroit Lions definitely wouldn't be winning. Trust me. It's the script has never been written for us. So just seeing that, I think this Aidan Hutchinson thing is just another part of that, Steve. The dude, like you said the other day, we watched his leg look like a wet noodle flopping around, right? And he's went from that to he's walking to being questionable for the game next week. Steve, I think that we're going to see Aidan Hutchinson in the Super Bowl. The writing is on the wall. I don't really think that there's much question about it, but I do got a question for you. If the doctor told him, hey man, listen, your leg is strong enough to play in the game, but there is a 10% possibility that you could do a little damage to this leg by playing in the Super Bowl, would you expect to see Aidan out there?
If there's a 10% chance, no.
10%. You wouldn't expect to see him?
I wouldn't. I think the conversation would have to be, your leg is fully healed. How's your mind? How's the rest of your body? How's your conditioning? Have you been able to keep in shape? And the injury risk would have to be everyday risk in the NFL, not anything past injury related for me. But I'm seeing some fast improvement. Again, not a doctor. I squirm at the sight of blood. I can't tell you where he is in the recovery process, but I'm telling you what my eyes see. And I saw a dude snap his leg 5 weeks ago. I saw a dude get put on the Jumbotron at Ford Field 2 weeks ago against the Tennessee Titans with no sock, leg propped up in a full cast. We just talked about it the other night with no information. And I said, no, there's no chance he's playing this year. And I flat out said, unless I see something look positive, if I see some workouts, some box jumps, anything.
Yeah.
Well, that happened today. And to see a guy walking, even if it's in a pool, has to be positivity. So I'm looking at the NFL schedule and I'm thinking, what do we got? Like 7 games left. Could we see him in the first round of the playoffs if maybe we get that number 1 seed and we get the bye?
Yeah, I don't know. I know that we're favored in all these games. Moving forward, we could be sitting in a very good spot, and I don't want to turn this into something else. But I got to go back to the question that I threw at you, because I'm sitting at the opposite end of the table. If there's a 10% chance that he could hurt this thing, I think that Dan Campbell said something that really resonated to me last season after the 49ers game, and it was this. It's very hard to make it back to these spaces. It's very hard to make it to a Super Bowl, to be a Super Bowl caliber team. You don't know that you're going to be back, because you never know. The stars have to align. People have to be healthy. You never know. Your superstar defensive player could be out, and Aidan Hutchinson, and you had to figure things out. Anything can happen in any given season. We got to focus on right now. This could be the only Super Bowl that Aidan Hutchinson ever has an opportunity to play in if we make it. And I think if you watch how he plays the game of football, this dude is a relentless player of this game. The way that sometimes he almost looks reckless out there, the way he's throwing his body around, trying to get to quarterbacks and trying to make plays. We talk about it all the time. You see him standing on the sideline after a play is over, just gassed, because he's absolutely given everything in his whole body. I would be hard pressed to believe that if there's any possibility that he can be on that football field, he won't be. And I think for those reasons, because when you look at NFL guys, and just even not to relate it to real life, but I think we have to. Steve, when you were in the military, you knew some of the consequences that could come ultimately from doing what you were doing out there. Same thing with these NFL guys. They know the consequence of playing this game. You know you can end up like Mike Utley. You know you can end up like Ryan Shazier. You know that the risks of playing this game, but you're playing it for a multitude of reasons. Some of these guys want the money, right? Some of these guys want the fame. And when you're a guy like Aidan Hutchinson, you can see it. You've seen it in his interview. You've seen it when he plays this game. He just loves the game of football. He's out there just doing exactly what he loves. I think he'll be out there. I think that is part of the Cinderella story. I think that we see Aidan Hutchinson in the Super Bowl. I think we win it, and songs are written about him. Statues are made. I've already
getting my tattoos are had.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man. It's just part of it. I think it's going to happen.
When I think of 10%, and I try to put this in Aidan's standpoint, if you say, hey, you're 90% ready to go, I think he's saying, hey, where's my pads at? Where's my locker? Mm-hmm. Like, we're the Super Bowl. I'm not sure how to get around the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Yep. That's what it's called, right? Is it Mercedes-Benz Superdome? Superdome, whatever. I don't know.
It's called
I'll take a picture of it when we get there. 10%, he's going to say yes. What's Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes going to say? If yes. I'm them, if I'm putting my coach's hat on, I'm saying 10%. Okay, nobody in the NFL in this point of the season is 90%. Everyone's banged up, everyone's got boo-boos, but he had a gruesome injury. If he's good enough to play, and it's a 10% risk, we're just throwing that out there theoretically. I'm going to try to mitigate that risk as much as I possibly can and say, I'm only going to put you in on third downs. I'm only going to put you in on third and long. I'm only going to let you rush the passer. All right. We got here for a reason. We got here without you in a way. Great asset to have. I'm going to use you as a tool instead of handicapping you at all. I'm going to put you on a pitch count. I'm going to say, we got Zadarius Smith. We got Ali McNeil, Poo Pants Houston. Like, we got guys who can rush the passer. So if it's 3rd and 7 and we're in the Super Bowl, hey, I'm going to give Hutch a slap on the ass. Go get him, Tiger. Go chase down Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. I can't play him every single down in that scenario.
Steve, you nailed it, man. That's exactly where I was going with it. And again, we don't talk about these things before we get on. He's not going to be out there being Aidan Hutchinson that we're used to, but he's going to be a guy who can help this team. He's going to be a guy that gets out there and he pass rushes, and he'll be out there situationally. And hey, maybe if we get into a fourth quarter where the game is on the line and it's a tough game, maybe he gets some more snaps. But absolutely, he'd be on a pitch count. He'd be out there situationally, but he'd be out there. And I think the energy of him just being out there, it's just like I said, man, I think it would be electric. I think it would be something that would just just make this story go from a really phenomenal story to perfect.
Do you think that the way Brad Holmes handled the Zadarius Smith thing, though, with giving him rest, do you think that is like maybe a telling sign of how he would handle a situation like this in the future with, hey, I gave Zadarius Smith rest because he didn't have a bye week. I just had my franchise defensive end snap his leg 5 weeks ago. What's he looking like? Do you think that could play any type of factor at all?
That's a great question. And I think
that's all I do is ask great questions. Great reporters ask great questions.
I think it's situational. You know what I mean? I think that, obviously in that situation, I wouldn't say obviously, because most teams aren't going to do what our GM did and what our head coach did, but I think that the best thing to do was what they decided to do with Zadarius and shutting him down and allowing him to go home and check on his house and do some of those things that he would have got to do if he had his whole bye week. So I think that they handled it perfectly, as they do darn near every situation, because they're looking at the game differently than everybody else in the NFL. A lot of these guys have played the game at the NFL level. A lot of these guys have a different type of respect for their players. They're just straight up, man. If you're not playing to the standard, they let you know, but they don't do it by belittling you or just dogging you out. They just say, hey, man, listen, you're not the guy for the job right now. Here's what you need to do to get there. Because I think of somebody like James Dookie Houston, right? They're not bashing Dookie boy, right?
Jimmy Deuce.
I like that. Yeah. But they're not, even when Aaron Glenn, you can hear it in Aaron Glenn's voice, like when he's talking about James Houston. Yeah, he says that player has some things that that we told them that they definitively need to work on and get better at to affect this team and be on the field, right? He doesn't say, hey man, he's just not playing good enough. Like he's never tearing these guys down, but these guys are holding these guys to a standard. They respect them, they appreciate them, and that's why this Detroit Lions team is the way that it is, man. We are a team that's a brotherhood from the front office all the way down to the fans.
Here's what's wild to me is that we lost arguably one of the best defensive ends in the NFL, and our defensive stats have not dropped at all. If anything, our points per game went down. I think we got a little bit better. We beat some good teams on the road. I think I saw something that 4 out of the 5 teams that we've beaten the last 5 weeks without Hutch, I think 4 out of the 5 are in the playoff hunt, and we've beaten most of them. It might be, I think Tennessee's the only one who's not in Dallas, so maybe it was 3 out of 5. We lost Aidan Hutchinson and didn't miss a beat. Our defense has played phenomenal. We're undefeated without him. And we added a guy in Zadarius Smith that is going to benefit if this scenario works out and Hutch comes back. And I talked about, is Zadarius Smith ready for the Batman role where he was kind of Robin in Cleveland with Myles Garrett there? Now he just slides right back into his old role with a new team, a better team.
Yeah.
Good luck. Good luck coming to Detroit in the NFC Championship game, and you got 70,000 Detroit Lions fans, and they're announcing the defense, and Hutch comes out of the tunnel. Good luck. Take a picture of Ford Field's roof because it's not going to be there for long. We're going to blow the roof off that place.
Man, that's going to be electric, man. I can't wait.
So, Steve, you got prediction.
Oh, for this game?
No. For Hutch.
Super Bowl.
That's when you think we'll see him? No sooner?
Super Bowl.
I think these next probably 3 to 4 weeks are going to be the most important for me to have a better gauge on if it's realistic. But I can really see a scenario where the Lions keep winning and other teams maybe lose, and we kind of control our own destiny as it sits today. But we have the number 1 seed right now. Okay. If we go into the playoffs and we lock up a bye, I think that there is, I'll say, a 25% chance. This is strictly a guess. No facts behind this. Just me guessing. 25% chance in this perfect world, bye week, number 1 seed, first home game in the playoffs. I think we could see Aidan Hutchinson.
Man, that would be a dream. I will say that I hope you're right, but I'm thinking more, it'll be Super Bowl or maybe the game before, but I'm thinking probably Super Bowl. That's just based upon what what I was talking about before, with the doctor that was talking about it. I said Super Bowl would be kind of pushing it, but it's a it's a realistic outcome based on when he got injured in the timetable. So
I don't think
Super
that
Bowl is what I'm
doctor
looking at.
took into account that Aidan Hutchinson was catching flights to Mexico and getting some studies and some stem cells injected into him. Because I'm telling you right now, to see this dude walking around in a pool at 5 weeks is incredible. And honestly, like if you put the video right back up real quick, if you pause it, like I tried to look at his left leg because that's the leg it was, right? Like I can't see anything. Like I'm diving into this.
Yeah.
You don't really see like any limp or a scar, or it looks good for where we are right now.
Yeah.
William, I'm telling you right now, we're talking like 12 weeks from now. Nothing crazy. It's possible.
It's definitely possible.
That's all I got for tonight, William. I'm too excited.
Hey, guys, hey, leave it in the comments, man. How you feeling about Aidan Hutchinson? You think that we'll see him back in the Super Bowl, or as Steve has pretty much guaranteed before the Super Bowl, round 1, we'll probably see Aidan. So leave it in the comments. How you guys feeling about it? I seen the other day when we briefly mentioned it, a lot of people were feeling like we should rest him till next season. I think me and Steve are both on the bandwagon of get him out there if he is medically approved to be out there. So leave it in the comments, guys. Hit that like button, and we'll be back with another episode. Throw it up, Steve.